Welcome to the Thousand Tales podcast. I'm your host, Conor Logan. We can't all lead celebrity lives, but we all have something unique and extraordinary to tell as a story or some sort of adventure. So please enjoy this episode with Glenn Noyes of Dos Vientos. Is it Noyes or
Noyes?
Noyes.
Just like loud noise.
Oh, jeez, what a perfect name for you.
Yeah. Everyone thinks it's...
Jeez, that couldn't be better.
Yeah.
And it's great because it's not obvious.
Yeah.
It's
not spelled that way.
To actually explain it to people.
Right.
And then they're like, wow, I bet you get that. That's the perfect name for you comment a lot.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's a stage name, and it's like, nope.
Right.
I got lucky.
Yeah, I remember my buddy also worked at Guitar Center for many, many years. Randall McKillop, but I think he was up in the San Francisco area in sales. And he and I, we met working at Creative Artist Agency together, and we came up with a joke band called Satan's Tail, and we had like these joke names for us, you know. I think mine was called Trident, but my real name in real life was Mortimer Huntington or something like that, you know, just goofy names.
Yeah.
The things that happen when you have a slow Tuesday afternoon at Guitar Center and you're standing on the floor, I imagine you come up with these ridiculous conversations with your coworkers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Well, what's the worst department to stand in?
The worst department?
Yeah, in terms of annoyance.
Well, I'm going to say drums, even though I'm a drummer.
Right.
But for most of the staff that are not drummers, they're usually either guitar players or someone else. Drums is probably the most annoying to them because it's very loud.
Yes.
Especially, where our policies are that people are allowed to play any instrument they want, pretty much for as long as they want. So, a lot of people take advantage of that and come in and just, jam. And it gets pretty loud at times.
Wow.
So, my old shop, we didn't allow playing unless you were qualified and,
Right.
Obviously you had to try the guitar or something, but we didn't let you just sit there and jam all day long. And in GC, it's kind of an open policy like that. Mm-hmm. So it's good and bad. If you're trying to answer the phones or you're trying to negotiate a deal with someone, it can get a little annoying.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. It scatters your brain, I bet, a little bit. You're trying to focus on something. Or it annoys the customers to the point where they're like, I'm just going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of complaints like that over the years. And the same with loud guitar amps. You get someone that cranks up a guitar amp and doesn't really know how to play. Yeah. It can be a little annoying.
Fortunately, there's not a lot of people trying out trumpets. That would be, or violins or something like that. That would be, I don't know if I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Jeez. My wife and I have our medical practice now, and that's our main thing. But I come from the world of computer security and computer infrastructure and stuff like that. And I always kind of goofed on the green screens and seeing that. And I remember when it was just the old the deck terminals that you had or whatever, and then seeing everyone there upgrade their systems to, at the time, very fast machines, but then still just be emulating the green screen on it and talking with the guys about it. And they're like, trust me, man, I know this system. I'm 8 keystrokes ahead of it, and it has to catch up to me. I know exactly where I'm going, and it's so fast. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. And I think there's actually term for that type of system that you're on. I think they're old rack F systems, if I'm remembering properly. But they, enterprise database systems that you're client server relationship kind of stuff, and used to support and develop on those kinds of things when I was working for Kaiser Permanente. I remember seeing the screens, and that's when it kind of dawned on me. I'm like, this is Guitar Center. That's exactly what they're doing. Yeah. And they were right. It is fast,
Yeah, we still have those green screens.
Amazing.
I remember the day we put them in, and before that we were non-computerized back, originally, and we're dealing with, carrying our own deal books around and writing everything out by hand, and then the day they put those in, at that time it was in the 80s, late 80s, 88, and I just remember we thought, all right, man, we're really moving up, this is modern technology, and it was at the time.
Oh, yeah.
But now we still have it, and we're in 2020.
Well, that shows the quality of the initial the initial offering
Yeah,
of that stuff.
that's
know?
true.
It's so lightweight and quick
Yeah.
that if its speed outweighs aesthetics for 42 years,
Yeah.
that speaks volumes to
that's true.
to the quality of the design.
Yep.
And that's pretty neat. I like stuff like that. I like stuff that lasts a long time. You see that with same kind of thing with like vintage gear. When people are like looking at like a specific type of synthesizer or something like that, they're looking for a sound like this bad boy, this Lowry right here. You can't. This is a Chicago-made Lowry. You can't get it anymore.
Right.
You can't get the speaker that's in it anymore. This thing sounds great. It's got a depth to the bass tone, especially, that you just can't replicate.
Yeah.
People buying monitors and looking for specific NS10s. They have to have their NS10 or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
That I have to have my SM7B microphone for this and for all the vocals I record. I won't use anything else. I'm so used to it. I know where the roll-offs are. I know how to EQ it right when I bring it into my session, and I gotta have it.
Or these headphones, 7506s.
Yes.
I've probably sold 10,000 pair of these over the years.
There's a reason why they're
a
standard.
workhorse.
They are.
Yeah.
They always sound good. They last forever.
Yeah.
The
cups
cups
deteriorate.
degrade before anything else will
Right.
on it. That's the only bummer about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty. So you switched to Guitar Center. I was doing a little research on it from shoes. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yeah. When I was getting out of high school and just taking a couple college courses, I had to support myself. I had left home by my choice. My parents moved up north, and I didn't want to leave.
This was San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I had all my friends, and my dad was military, and we had moved a lot through my school years, and I always had to make new friends, and I just got tired of it. So
Which branch?
Marines.
Marines. Oh.
Yeah. So he retired after 21 years as a major, but we
Major
moved
Noyes?
Major Noyes.
Wow. What? When artillery was going off, I'm sure there were
Major
lots of jokes about that.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
No, that's
It's
okay.
really funny, though.
I got tired of making new friends, and we had just moved. It was my senior year, and I was 17, and when they wanted to move up north, I said, I'm not going. So, they helped me out the first year, with getting a place, and of course, then I had to find work, and I didn't want to go the route of, most people, and I did. My very first job was actually at Arby's, and I hated it. I just didn't like the whole food environment, and so I thought I'll try selling, and I started at Kinney Shoes, which back in the day, and I found that I was pretty good at it. I really enjoyed the transaction and the communication and working with people and helping them out, solving their problems. Mm-hmm. And so I did shoes for several years, actually. I went from Kinney to Florsheim, and then I went to a company called Standard Shoes. There was high-end women's shoes and purses and things like that. I wasn't passionate about shoes. That's all I knew at that time. And at that point, I had moved up to the South Bay, so I was in Redondo Beach and the Hermosa Beach area. And I had a girlfriend at the time that just said, there's this store that just opened down the street. They're called Guitar Center. You should go in there and see about selling something you actually like, because I was so involved in playing drums at that time.
What kind of kit did you have at the time?
At that time, I had a Tama. I had a Tama Swing Star.
Great kit.
Yeah, that I had bought from the San Diego Guitar Center. It was one of the very first guitar centers that was in downtown San Diego.
So you were a customer before an employee.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I went in, and I just remember it was funny. The store manager said, "You're a drummer?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, and for anyone that knows drums, he said, "I'm going to give you a question." He goes, "What's the difference between a coated and a clear drum head?" And I started thinking about it. I thought, this is a trick question. I said, "One's coated and one's clear?" He goes, "Great. Can you start tomorrow?" That was my whole job interview. The fact that
that's funny.
Yeah, and I started that next day, and
if he wanted to stump you, he would say, "What's the difference between an emperor and a pinstripe?"
Yeah,
right?
Or something like that. But yeah, so that was December of '85, and I've been within that industry now for, still am for however long that's been. 30 coming up on 35 years.
Do you still play?
I still play.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you still play Tama?
I have 2 Tama kits, but my main kit is a DW now.
Oh.
DW's, they're here locally in Oxnard. They make really beautiful drums, very, very high end. They're kind of the Rolls Royce of the industry. And I've become very good friends with...
Peek behind the curtain there.
Yeah, you got a DW in there?
No, I've got Yamahas.
But you got...
I've got
the Birch Custom Absolutes. Yeah, those are beautiful.
And I have a Maple Custom Absolute. Those are actually the vintage series, so they have the clarinet lacquer on them.
Well...
And sorry, you were saying your contact at DW.
Yeah, I became friends with everyone there, from the owner, the founder, the vice president now, who's John Good, who is very famous worldwide, in the industry, and he's known as the Wood Whisperer because his job, he goes around the world and finds these exotic woods to make drum sets out of. And so a couple of years ago, and I've always played DW now for quite a while, but I went to him, I said, I want to design my dream kit. They'll probably be the last kit that I need. I already have a bunch of others from over the years. But so he and I worked together and designed this one of a kind.
Tell me all about the kit.
Well, it's...
I love it.
Yeah, we went out to the shop and we were looking at these woods, and I found this one, they cut them in these thin plies, and I found this ply that just had such an exotic pattern to it, and it just really caught my eye. And I said, "What is that?" And he goes, "I was hoping you weren't going to pick that one." He goes, "That's a really delicate wood that's very temperamental. It's very hard to work with, and it's a European spalted beechwood." And he said, I might have enough to make one kit." He goes, "But it'll never go into production because this wood's very, very hard to work with." And so I said, "That's what I want."
There you go. That's nice.
And he ended up having a little extra, and so I challenged him, and they had never done this. I said, "The pattern on the outside of the shell, I want that same thing on the inside."
Oh, that's such a cool idea.
Yeah, because typically it's just natural maple or whatever on the inside. And he goes, "We don't do that." And I said, "Well, you can do it." I said, "You can do anything, John." And so sure enough, that's what I have. And
what a great idea. Well, hopefully when this all passes, I got to see that kit.
Yeah. I didn't realize how close I lived to you. I mean, I could walk here.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I'm right at the corner of Wendy and Orchard.
Oh, geez. Wow. You're very close.
Yeah, so I walk up here to the dog park all the time with my German Shepherd.
Yeah.
So, and then, I saw your Yamaha kit. I had the honor in 1998 of going to the Yamaha factory in Japan. And it was just supposed to be a factory tour, which we do that often, or we used to. Don't know if we'll do it anymore. But when we got there, they said, "We have a surprise for you. You're going to build your own drum set." And so we got to go through the entire process, and we all got to make Maple Custom Absolute kits from scratch. And
wow, what a treat. Jeez.
It was a great experience. And obviously the factory workers worked with us, otherwise we would have destroyed them. But got to be hands-on and through the whole development of the kit, and all the way from the very start to the finish, putting the finish on it, and then they sent them home with us. So that kit I have set up right now in we have a bonus room in the house. It's kind of a game room, and that's like the centerpiece of that room. It's just a beautiful kit. And when the day we were leaving, they said we had all done the same natural finish because of time restraints or time constraints, and so they were like, there were 6 of us on this trip, and there were these 6 kits that were all identical, and they were wrapped in bags. And the Hagi, who was a legendary guy in the industry, that was one of the head people at Yamaha, said, go pick out your kits. Go check out your kits before we put them in boxes and ship them to you. And we were all looking at them. We're like, they're all the same. He goes, "Go look closely." And they had created custom badges on every drum with our name engraved in the badge, in the Maple Custom Yamaha badge.
I got all these drums off of Yamaha Endorsee, this guy, Phil Block.
Oh, okay.
Bloch. And he and I moved out here from Pennsylvania in 2001 to do consulting. I didn't even come out here with a drum kit, and the .com bubble had burst. I'm like sitting there, quote unquote, on the bench working for PricewaterhouseCoopers. And my first year there, I think I was billable for like four weeks out of 50 weeks or something like that. It was, just no work. And so I got bored, looked up on Recycler, got into a crap